Tipping has become part of almost every transaction. A new Lending Tree study shows Americans spend nearly $80 billion on tips. We'll hear with a breakdown on how generous South Carolina ranks and the impact this proposed legislation could have on the Palmetto State is Matt Schulz, Chief Consumer Finance Analyst at Lending Tree. Glad to have you with us. And of course, we're talking about no tax on tips and what this could mean for those who are earning to the tune of almost $80 billion in tips. So first of all, give us a quick picture of why this number has swelled to what it is today.
Well, technology has made it a whole lot easier to tip for things that we didn't traditionally tip for, but also to tip more for even things that we traditionally do. Technology allows restaurants, for example, to set the percentages that you choose when you are finishing out paying the bill.
Right.
And if those numbers are 20 or 25% or 30%, it's a big deal for folks, and people get a little tired of it and feel like they're being pushed a little bit.
Yeah. Well, here in South Carolina, Charleston in particular, it is a huge tourist area. Hospitality is one of the main industries. Where do we rank?
Well, in our report, South Carolina ranked third in the country in terms of the percentage of their food spending away from home that goes toward tips. And while it's certainly a good sign, but it doesn't necessarily entirely reflect that folks in South Carolina are necessarily more generous than others, because it also includes both tipping at full service restaurants, but also at other places where you don't necessarily tip or the expectations aren't quite the same. So what it could be saying, along with the generosity bit, is that people in South Carolina may be a little more likely when they dine out to go to full service restaurants.
Well, how does the tipping trends affect businesses and workers? And do you believe that the no tax on tips is going to make either a positive effect on these workers in hospitality, for instance? What is your view?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think that if part of my livelihood is tips, I would think that removing the tax from those tips would be a good thing. I mean, the devil will be in the details in terms of how it all ends up playing out. But the truth is that tips are a huge expense for a lot of people, and people generally try to be pretty generous when they can, because they understand that that folks in the hospitality industry, their livelihoods depend on these things. But we also just don't like necessarily feeling like we're being pushed around and asked to tip too much or too often.
Cost of living is also going up and up and up. So I would imagine, despite this $80 billion number, that because of cost of living increasing, people might get a little bit more chintzy.
It's entirely possible. And my personal belief is that if you can't afford to leave a standard tip, 15% or more, when you go to a full service restaurant, that maybe you should think of going somewhere else, because it is so important to those people working there.
Of course.
And 15% isn't just about somebody who gives good service. 15% we should generally see as a baseline, and if we want to give more, we can give more, and that's great.
Yeah, well, good analysis. Matt, I want to thank you so much for joining us. Really interesting stuff.
Thank you.
We're back after this.